Story 1. Balancing work and family time. I used to think I would have more time as I got older, but it just seems to get busier. Trying to make sure I am present for my loved ones. Story 2. I'm unemployed, and it's causing a lot of mental issues like depression, anxiety, and feeling worthless and undeserving of the money I'm privileged to have access to in order to support myself. I also don't have many friends in the new area I moved to, so not having a job means I'm mostly at home watching television by myself, smoking cannabis. Story 3. Finished writing my book. Querying agents is a nightmare, and it's really hard knowing I'll be hit by a sea of rejections while hoping to find one that likes it. Story 4. I was laid off in June of 2023. I then almost died from asthma 2 weeks later. I was in a coma for 10 days and hospitalized for 2.5 months. 8 months of rehabilitation to learn how to walk again. I had over $25,000 in savings, all gone now. Finally, almost back to pre-June 2023 mode, but I have lost a lot over the past 1.5 years. Story 5. The city of Brockton, Massachusetts. I taught 10th grade there for almost a decade until a student pushed me down a flight of stairs, permanently disabling me and ending my career. I had just picked my thesis committee and was going to be teaching an undergraduate course at university that fall under the guidance of my mentor. The city stopped paying my disability in June 2023. I am about to lose my home and have to hide my car from the repossession agent. I have 2 children, one of whom has special needs. I have no insurance. I gave my everything to the city. They asked the National Guard to come in. It's gotten so bad. The kid wasn't even my student. There was no conflict over grades or anything silly. It also wasn't the first time I left there in an ambulance. Also, a colleague had his arm broken in 2 spots, another slashed with a knife, all covered up. Maybe Reddit can do its thing? Share my story? It made local news but didn't gain traction. Story 6. Self-care has always been a challenge for me. I would often stay in bed for days due to depression. But now that I'm about to turn 30, I want to improve my body, mind, and spirit. There were several suicide attempts in my youth, but I'm a new person now and I can change myself. The biggest problem would be maintaining my routine, doing a crossword in the morning, working out, or doing some form of stretching daily, meditating, reading, taking care of my teeth, taking my medications, and remembering to eat. I have to keep all of this up every single day, and it's so hard. Story 7. It becomes increasingly difficult to take care of myself, being a double below knee amputee and about to be a 78-month leukemia warrior. No one appreciates that. Story 8. My best friend swan-dived into a meth addiction about 8 months ago. 7 years of friendship is gone, and my ability to trust anyone at all went with it. We fought in June, and she left, but she recently popped back up. My desire to save her is only paralleled by my desire to hurt her as badly as she hurt me. We have gotten past a lot, but I don't know if we can survive the fastest slide to rock bottom I've ever seen. I've seen a lot. Beck, if you see this, message me. I don't know if Reddit is a sober activity for you anymore. Answer, meth. Meth is a gigantic problem for me, considering I don't partake. Story 9. Being 7 months pregnant. The pain I'm experiencing makes working horrific, and I'm so depressed about it. I love this little girl and the life we are building for her, but getting there is eating away at everything I thought I was. Story 10. Needing more outgoing friends. My friends that have kids are understandably busy, but my friends who also don't have kids are too comfortable sitting on their couches. I need and want some spontaneous energy and adventure with someone. Story 11. My 19-year-old son, my only child, was killed in a car accident in March. I am trying to work so I do not think about it constantly, but truthfully I am just in a haze. I am still in shock and often want to join him. Story 12. So, we foster kittens at our house, and unfortunately, this litter of newborns came to us with parvovirus. It is extremely deadly to kittens, and 3 of them have died this week, as well as the mother. It's been a real emotional struggle, and there's nothing we can really do. We just watch their weight drop every day as they refuse food. Story 13. There aren't enough hours in the day. I need to work, but I also want to spend time with the kids. and maybe do some sports or get some sleep too once in a while. Story 14. Work-life balance. Don't get me wrong, I love my job, but I'm working 4 nights a week, sometimes until 2 a.m., and I feel like I've alienated everyone in my friend group. I went to perform at a bar with a couple of friends of mine, and I had people questioning where I've been, and even the person who runs the show night said, "They've been gone for a while, but I'm glad they're back." You don't know how bad I wanted to tell them that my new job has ruined everything other than my career aspirations. Story 15. Cancer, colon. The prognosis is good, though it was removed through surgery. It's not so much the disease, but the medical bills that go along with it. Not to mention the 6 weeks of work I missed without pay after the surgery. I missed part of July and all of August this year due to recovery at home. We went through all our savings and more, using credit cards just to keep the family fed and the lights on. Insurance paid most of the bills, but still leaves tens of thousands due that I am responsible for. The insurance deductible will reset in January, so I'll be paying 100% out of pocket until I meet the already high deductible for anything that happens in 2025. I'll be getting frequent magnetic resonance imaging scans, computed tomography scans, and blood work every few months until the doctors deem me cured. Short-term Social Security disability was denied as I wasn't sick enough in their eyes. Temporary state unemployment benefits were denied as well. They used the "you got time to lean, you got time to clean" defense in their denial of benefits. The chemotherapy treatments are not fun either. I'm 1 month into a 6-month regimen of chemotherapy pills and all the side effects that go along with it. I try to tell myself that it could have been worse, though. I'm back to work, dealing with the side effects of pills, and working towards getting some of these bills paid down. Story 16. As a Canadian, my biggest problem is the gut-wrenching anxiety waiting to see if our neighbors down south are going to vote in the man who will start World War III. I don't understand how that idiot is even an option. He was absolutely terrible the first time he set off to run that country into the ground. Story 17. After 10 years of supporting all my fellow creatives and attending all their events and screenings for their art, I finally released my project, and none of them showed up to support or liked it on social media. Literally only 2 people did. I'm devastated. Story 18. Knowing I'm better off single, but the feeling of sharing something you're passionate about or highly interested in with a person who cares is a whole other feeling. Story 19. Benzodiazepine withdrawal. For over 10 years, I took 3 milligrams of Klonopin daily, as prescribed. I spent several excruciating months tapering down my dosages, and now I'm starting month 2 completely clean. It is extremely difficult. Story 20. Vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. 2 years ago, I was a healthy, lean athlete and runner. I worked in a very mentally and physically taxing field. Now, I am on disability. I have been hospitalized 10 times, not including emergency room visits. I had 3 surgeries, not including approximately 14 chest tubes being placed. 21 computed tomography scans, you get it. I'm tired. I don't even recognize myself in the mirror. Still here, though. Story 21. It's hard to pick one, but I realized recently that most of my problems probably stem from untreated depression. I'm trying to find an affordable therapist now. Story 22. Trying to face a life of pain due to a personality disorder. Figuring out how to not kill myself because of the destruction I've left behind and the relationships I've destroyed and the hopeless future ahead. Figuring out if I'll ever forgive my parents for ruining my life. Right now, I'm just trying to work myself to death. Story 23. I've needed to get this off my chest for a while now, and there isn't really anyone I can speak to about it, and it's really getting me down. I, a 32-year-old male, live a stable life with a long-term girlfriend who I love, a house, and a dog, who I also love. On October 1st, I met someone at a work conference with whom I made a once-in-a-lifetime connection. Think like a movie-type connection, which obviously never happens in real life, except it did. I've seen this woman a few times since initially meeting her, have had hours of interaction, and I think I have fallen or am falling in love with her. To even say it aloud sounds ridiculous. How can you love someone you didn't even know existed last month? Especially coming from me, being the most skeptical, cynical, miserable person to have ever walked the streets of London. Even thinking it feels ridiculous. But anyway, sorry for the ramble. I'm in love with two women, and any decision or indecision is killing me. Story 24. Paying rent. I'm scared for this election, more for my friends in conservative states than for myself in a liberal state. I'm struggling with health issues, and I'm worried about my job because my employer is in an obvious slump, and I don't think my contract will be renewed. The fact is, rent is due tomorrow, and that's the biggest problem for me. I'm only about $100 short, and I'm pretty sure I can make that up tonight or tomorrow night with my gig job. But I am so tired of leaving my house at 8 in the morning and not getting home until 8 or 9 at night. You do what you have to, I guess. The plain fact is that I'd be fine if I hadn't had to pay almost $600 for a prescription I needed, but that's just how life goes sometimes. I've been in worse situations and I've survived them. I'll survive this. Story 25. She is a cousin. When we were teenagers, my mother took her in because of things that were happening. Around 10 years ago, my cousin got pregnant, and she did not want to keep it. She went to my mother, and my mother helped her pay for the procedure, the flights to another country, and everything related to it. She has paid for her health care for years. Apparently, when they got back, my mother dropped my cousin home. That was the wrong thing to do at the time, as my mother's husband had cancer. I found out about all this around 2021. I was not in a great place with my mother. My cousin started telling me all this stuff, knowing I would take her side while omitting a lot of details. Mother would not tell me what actually happened either, but what my cousin was saying did not make sense. My cousin was even trying to get me to report my mother to the police for something. In 2022, my mother finally told me everything. My cousin would ring me or text me, or I would contact her to ask how things were with the kids, and my cousin would always ask if I had spoken to my mother. Even if we had not spoken that day, she would use that to harass my mother. A 34-year friendship up in flames because she built a grudge in her head. Story 26. My mom had a stroke in August that left her half immobile. My girlfriend of 4 years broke up with me a month later, which was 1 month before my birthday. I had to cancel the big birthday trip she planned for me with all my friends. And now, in 2 weeks, I will be homeless. I have to move across the country alone with only what fits in my car to be close to family again. Happy birthday to me. Story 27. Getting ready to have a hard conversation with my best friend. A girl manipulated me to get closer to him. Long story, but he doesn't see it that way. I guess it's okay for me to get walked on by a potential partner. I'm ending the friendship tonight. Already dealing with a horrific depression episode, and this is making it way harder to get out of. Happy Halloween. Story 28. My Nana always used to tell me, "You're a leader." And I would always say, "No, I'm not," in response because I just didn't feel like one. Now I realize I am and that I've been adrift. Now, as an adult in their 30s, life having passed them by, I am realizing this. Story 29. My biggest problem right now is trying to balance my desire to be productive with the constant lure of my couch and snacks. It's a daily struggle between, I should work on that project, and, but have you tried this new flavor of ice cream? Honestly, my productivity levels could really use a motivational speech or a treadmill. Story 30. I'm a dad. I live at home with my mom. I have a son whom I have 50-50 custody of. I'm still paying child support even though I shouldn't be, but due to the way the system is set up, it sets up separated dads to fail. So I've got no long-term housing. I'm trying to juggle work and parenting, and I'm bleeding money. Story 31. I have reached a point where I despise most people. The last 8 years have been like a scorched earth attack on every one of my deepest values and hopes for myself, my country, and the world. Is it nihilism? Hopelessness? Bitterness at the callous stupidity and selfishness of the masses? I am at the point where I despise the very life of people on the other side of certain issues. The absolute dumbest and worst of humanity keeps chattering away and is so loud. They are all so loud. Story 32. My wife of 24 years is in the other room dying slowly, or at least she would be my wife if we didn't have to separate so she could maintain her insurance. She checks absolutely no boxes from the things she had always established as her touchstones for quality of life. Her body is just out there existing, robbing her memory of any remaining dignity it may have had. She has no idea where she is, who anyone is, what's going on, or when it is. She can't carry on meaningful conversations or even engage with any kind of entertainment media. And when she's gone, I'll be alone for the first time in 20 years. I'll lose my job as I'm currently being paid by the state to care for her. I'll possibly lose my place to live, as I rent this place from one of her family members at a huge discount. And I'll be weeks away from burning through my already nearly depleted life savings. Things are really difficult right now. Story 33. In this instant moment, I have a slight cold from going out for Halloween over the weekend, and I am debating whether to get a COVID test, even though every time I've taken one in the last 2 years, it has been negative. The cold is annoying, though just a little less sunshine in my day. Story 34. Keeping up with new topics and staying accurate. The world is moving fast, so it's a challenge to stay on top of the latest news, changes, and discoveries across all kinds of fields.